We're back with another deck tech video from Reygon this time, and he's going to talk to you about war.
Hey guys, Reygon here, back today with another deck tech video focusing on War Legion Commander. He's one of our Harbinger contenders from set 2, and what he says is whenever you attack with 2 clash cards in one turn, you get to draw an extra card. So I'm playing 3 colors today, red, black, and white. The reason why we're playing 3 colors in this deck is the extra trigger enters on draws and the non-clash damage combo of Torque the Uncontrollable with Here Comes the Boom, as well as some token generators of War Strifebringer and Bardega Warhorn, and not to mention you get the access to Decimation, which is a great clash buff that gives you extra attack and breakthrough till end of turn, just to make sure that your cards you're attacking with do land that damage and end the game very quickly. So like I said, in general, you're trying to get a lot of clash cards into play, make multiple attacks, get cards in your hand. The reason why we're playing each card is pretty straightforward. Moxie, you get the trigger enter, you draw a card. Torque, you have the combo with Here Comes the Boom and Torque the Uncontrollable to clear everything on the board, get a bunch of damage in. It's either the best card or the worst card in the deck, funnily enough. So if there's an opponent that's flooding the board, Here Comes the Boom plus Torque is an old and tested reliable combo to remove their cards and get some good damage in. Same as Moxie, Haven is a trigger enter. You get to draw a card. You get another attack in the turn, draw another card from your contender. So you're getting a lot of early game access to trigger enters and draws. Attack with the small cards, you get more draws. Same thing with Haven. We only have 2 Havens in this deck. It's a 2 cost. It's the same as Haven the Resourceful Helper. So in general, it's just a slightly worse version of Haven the Resourceful Helper, but it's still good enough to get in there once in a while. Plus, we need enough white resources in our deck to get access to cards such as Deliverance, as well as Clarity, Harbinger of Death. One of the most underrated cards, I think, in Alpha Clash right now is Death the Dreadful. What Death the Dreadful says is trigger enter, you may activate the portal, which is very important to this deck because you have cards such as Bardega Warhorn and War Strifebringer that can benefit from that portal being open. Or you can keep it closed to shut off your opponents from taking advantage of the portal control, such as maybe a Krung deck that takes advantage of the discarded, that really likes that portal open. So either one, you can take advantage of portal control with Death the Dreadful. She also reads is when trigger defeat, target contender loses 2 health, then that contender draws 1 card. So you can either use it offensively or defensively. If you're trying to get into the last bit of damage, this card can attack for 2. It can get defeated maybe by their contender or something that obstructs it and do another 2. So essentially two resources can land you 4 damage. And at the end of the game, if they draw a card, it's not a big deal. Or early game, you can use it to draw yourself a card as well, combined with your contender draw ability. Moving down to like a turn 3 play, we're looking to get that portal open so we can land a Bardega Warhorn. And essentially what Bardega Warhorn says is trigger enter, create a 1/1 War Minion Clash token. And at the end of your turn, if the portal is open, create a 1/1 red War Minion Clash token as well. So this allows us to always have at least 1 War Minion in play and attack with it the following turn to always trigger our contender. So it's a good 3 cost play. It synergizes well with our contender and our strategy. And then moving on to later in the game, it kind of depends on what's going on. One of my favorite plays is actually using Kilimanjaro. And what he says is trigger enter, you may discard any number of cards from your hand, and for each card discarded, you may give target clash card -2 until end of turn. So all those cards you drew turn 1 through 3, you can now turn into advantage by discarding 2 of them to kill something they have into play with 4 defense, which is hard to do at turn 4 in the game. So it's a really efficient way to use those extra cards in your hand to kill something, get some more attacks, maybe draw another card. So I really like Kilimanjaro. You also have War Strifebringer, which is one of my favorite cards in all of Alpha Clash. What War Strifebringer says is trigger enter, you may activate the portal, then create 2 1/1 red War Minion Clash tokens. So essentially he creates multiple bodies, so you can always get that clash trigger from War, or you can use those War Minions to buff up your Strifebringer. And it combos really nice with Bardego Warhorn. So essentially by turn 4, you could potentially have 4 minions to make this guy into a 7-3 attacker on turn 4, putting a lot of pressure on their life totals. And then kind of moving down into turn 5, 6, and 7, what we're trying to do is get a bunch of 2-for-1. So Death Stalking Spectre is a great card to do this. If you're worried about the Buffalo, the Buffalo has 3 attack. And what this says is trigger enter. You may send target clash card with an attack power 3 or less to Oblivion. So if your opponent is playing the Buffalo, which only has 3 attack, you can remove it really easily with Death Stalking Spectre, attack with it, maybe attack with another clash card, and just completely steamroll that strategy of playing Buffalo. So Death Stalking Spectre is a really good card in the meta, and I really think more people should be playing it. Moving on to turn 6, we have Flare the Explosive Combatant, which is a 6-drop card that has flight and trigger attack, deal 2 damage to all the clash cards. So this is just a good way to end the game quickly. 6 attack, 6 defense, and flight. Not many things can stand up to it 1v1, so is our big finisher. We're also playing Clarity Harbinger Death, which you can kind of sub out between Clarity and War, but I kind of tend to prefer Clarity because she hits the field. She makes your opponent send a clash card they control to Oblivion. It lets you draw extra cards, maybe gain some health back. So I really like Clarity. We're already playing black and white, so I like to take advantage of using this clash card in this deck. And not to mention, at the very worst, you can use her as a resource early game to either be a white or black resource to help make perfect curve plays down the road. Some of the non-clash cards we have in the deck consist of Denver, which is just a good, cheap clash ground control. So it's a 1-cost clash ground. It lets you draw some cards, filter your hand, and maybe buffs up your Mox using your Havens, but it's just a way to combat other people playing clash grounds early and efficiently to remove those. Like I said, we also play Decimation. Decimation is the clash buff. It gives clash cards you control +3/+1 and breakthrough until end of turn. So it's a big damage boost to kind of end the game quickly and unexpectedly when they think they can block, but you still get that damage through and really keep that pressure up. We also have Bardego Warhorn, which we kind of talked about earlier. This is one of our consistent token generators to always trigger our contender, as well as combined with our War Strife Bringer. We play a couple copies of Deliverance just to take care of those few cards you can't deal with. It's a good way to just remove anything that's really strong and cause a lot of problems. Just remove it with Deliverance and, that problem goes away. And we also have Here Comes the Boom. Once again, the combo with Torque the Uncontrollable. You don't always want to play Here Comes the Boom like you would on the Torque deck just because you have a lot of clash cards in play. This is kind of your last chance backup plan. It's either the best card in the deck or the worst card in the deck, and I find myself resourcing this card more than I play it, but when I need it, I really need it, so it's nice to have as an option. So what I'll do is I'll kind of run through a few sample hands and what I'm looking to try to do with this deck and how to play it at a generic level. So what I'll do is I'll draw 8 cards, kind of look through, see what I got, and kind of talk through my thought process. So early game, really want cards to play early, get some draws, get some triggers on our contender. So what I'm looking for is I got a Haven. I don't need a Here Comes the Boom early. I probably don't need Death early. War, I don't need early. Don't need early. Don't need early. So I'll keep these 3 cards and try to get some more low-costed clash cards. So I'll shuffle 5 back in. Draw 5 new cards. So I got some black cards to work around with, so I'll be looking to probably play a Death the Dreadful turn 2. Assuming my opponent went first, I will draw a card. So turn 1, I would just drop a Denver. I'd be happy to pass the turn. So I'll draw another card. Look in what I got here. Have 2 wars, so I'll get another war down. I'll drop my Death the Dreadful. I will open the portal. Then I'd likely just attack with my Death. Is a good chance she'll die to my opponent depending on what they're playing. So at least I'll attack. I won't get my War Contender trigger, but at least I'll attack, do some damage. She'll die. I'll get to lose 2 health, but I'll get to draw a card. Alright, so kind of turn 3, looking through it, look what I'm trying to do. Nice, I got a Moxie as well. So kind of looking at my hands, I'll probably play another Denver just because I got extra ones in play. I'll play that Moxie, trigger draw. Nice, I got my Warhorn. And I'll also play a second copy of my Death. Portal's still open, don't need to activate that. Attack with my Moxie, it'll die. Attack with my Death, trigger draw for my Contender. Draw another card. It'll likely die as well, but that's okay. Pass through my opponent, come back to me. Keep kind of this exercise going. So looking, I probably need another red card in my resource. Likely drop. Let's see here, guys. What would I play here? We're likely want to play this Warhorn. So I'll drop Torque the Uncontrollable. Play my Warhorn. Drop that, and I would create a token. So grab one of my trusty playtester tokens, put that into play, and I'd likely just pass the turn here. And at end of turn, I also get the trigger from Warhorn, so create another token. Depending on what they do, they likely probably kill one of them. That's all right. Maybe take a little damage back. And on my turn, I get to draw another card. Don't need a second Warhorn as it's exclusive, so I will resource this Warhorn. And what I get to do is play War the Strifebringer. So probably 1, 2, 3, 4. Since I have my decimation up, I want to leave one resource available. I will play my War Strifebringer. Make sure the portal's open. It already is, so I'll create 2 more of these. Oh. And now I got a War Strifebringer in play with 3 copies of my War minions. So what I would likely do here is I would attack with War, engage 2 to give him +1/+0 twice to make him a 5/3 with Breakthrough, get some damage in, and then attack with another minion to trigger my Contender to draw a card. Perfect. Now we drew into our 6-drop. Now this card would be dead. Pass to my opponent. I'm sure he's going to try to kill this card. Maybe one more minion. And come back to me. Alright, back to my turn. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to play one more resource. I'm probably looking to drop a red or a black. Well, we have 2 deaths, so we'll drop down to death. And let's assume they have that Buffalo in play right now. And I can take advantage of my Death Stalking Spectre. So what I would do is I would play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Death Stalking Spectre. I'd remove that Buffalo in play, get rid of it, attack with my War, attack with my Death, get to draw a card. I can also use my last black resource to play this Moxie, get to draw another card. And look, now I got a bunch of cards in my hands. We're attacking, get a lot of damage in, and we're ready with a blocker to stop that next attack. Into my turn, I also get another token from Ardega Warhorn. So that's the kind of the general idea, guys, is just to get a lot of cards into play, get a lot of attacks, get a lot of tokens, and kind of keep the pressure up and be aggressive and beat them down with our War Legion Commander.